All right, we're going to look at the deep squat now. And at the message overhead squat, we're going to take the overhead component out and just look at a regular squat. We're going to look at 6 things when we're looking at our squat. We're going to start with making sure our hips go below parallel, or at least 2 parallel. So go ahead and show them what a parallel squat looks like, Steve. Where our hip crease is at least equal to or below our knee crease. All right? Go ahead and show them what a failing squat would look like, a failing squat. All right, good. So that's not a full squat. We want to make sure our clients are getting as low as possible with the correct form. Right? If they're unable to hit parallel through coaching cues, we're going to look at doing stretches first. Right? We're going to first start by stretching our hamstrings and our glutes with a P&F stretch. So as we do this, I'm going to encourage my client to keep his knee or his leg flat on the ground, knee locked out. Okay? I'm then going to start pushing into a stretch. So I'm going to stop. Good. All right. We also don't want to flex this other the stretching knee as well. So I'm going to encourage him to keep that locked. All right. I'm going to keep pushing. Say good? Good. All right. We're going to hold this stretch about 20 seconds. 20 seconds to pass. We're going to start pushing into me. He's going to drive his heel to the floor, and I'm not going to allow him to. All right, we're going to hold this about 10 seconds, encouraging him to continue to push and breathe. Once 10 seconds is up, I'm going to go ahead and push a little bit farther than that. All right. Before you start stretching your clients, let them know it's going to be a very intense stretch. It's going to be quite uncomfortable. All right. Encourage them to breathe through the stretch. All right, so Steve's knees come off the floor. I'm going to tell him to push that back down. All right, so 20 seconds is up. We've stretched both legs. We're going to do it on both sides. We're going to have him come back up. At this point, we're going to look at doing some ankle mobility. All right, no one looks at ankle when they're looking at someone's squat, and we need to start. So I'm going to Steve will go ahead and have you put one foot inside that band. Step out. Be quite a bit of tension on the band. Take one more step. One more. Good. We want this band to be very, very tight. Bring this foot forward. I'm going to have him sink this knee into the floor while keeping that ankle on the ground. Good. We're going to hold each stretch about 5 seconds, and then we're going to relax. We're going to do this 4 to 5 times per leg to increase his ankle mobility. Good. All right, from there we're going to retest the squat. Go ahead and squat, Steve. All right, he's pretty good. If they didn't get the full mobility that we wanted at that point, we're going to start regressing this exercise. First, we're going to start regressing by having him put his heels on these 25-pound plates. It's about 1 inch height. It's going to take ankle mobility almost out of the equation. Go ahead and squat, Steve. All right, so again, he's far past parallel at this point, so we would stop testing at this point. If you don't make parallel now, all right, stop. I'm going to regress him one more time by going to a box. Steve's going to squat into a box. I'm going to have him, again, keep his weight on his heels, sit back on the box, completely relieve his weight, and then re-engage and drive through the heel. Go ahead, Steve. All right. If he's still not able to do that, if he can't quite get down, and once he gets to a certain point, he just falls, go ahead and start squatting and just fall. All right? That would be, he knows the seat's under, so he's going to go ahead and just allow his muscles to disengage. All right? If we're doing that at that point, we're going to go over TRX. We're going to use rings in place of TRX. I'm going to have Steve bring his feet a little bit forward in front of his body like he is. So his body's at an angle now, and he's going to go ahead and squat, keeping his arms straight. So now he can go ahead and disengage his muscles to a certain extent and get below parallel. Give me a couple more. Okay, good. All right, stop. Stop. We're going to do. Okay, so next thing we're going to look at is his weight remaining on his heels. We've all seen this as we're doing orientations. Good. That's the correct way. Go ahead and do it wrong, Steve. He's coming up on his toes, creating a ton of force onto his knees. That's what we really want to avoid. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is stretch the same way we would if they weren't hitting parallel. We're going to stretch his glutes. We're going to stretch his hands. We're going to stretch his ankles. All right. We're going to have him retest. Go ahead and retest. Okay. Good. Now he did it wrong. Go ahead and do it wrong. All right, good. So we're gonna retest this again by doing the 25-pound plates first. Okay. If you can't do that, we will have to go to a box, because by going to a box, it's very easy to keep them driving through their heels. This should be the last test you should have to do for this particular part of the squat. All right. If it's not, if they're still coming on their toes, they come off the box on your toes. So they move too far forward, they push their toes. Again, we'll take over the TRX and we'll complete the action there. client's strong and is really, really close to getting this movement down, we're going to go ahead and take them into a goblet squat. Normally I don't load clients in the first time, but as long as the weight's not tremendous, this will help them stay on their heels. If they don't stay on their heels, they will fall forward, so their natural inclination is to stay on their heels. Go ahead and squat. So that's a goblet squat. Weight stays directly against his chest. He's not holding it out in front of him. He's not holding it here directly against his body. Come back up. Do a thumb roll. And this will absolutely encourage them to stay on their heels. Torso. Yeah. The third thing we're going to look at is their torso line in comparison to their shin line. Go ahead, Steve, go into a full squat. All right, Steve, when he's in his full squat, if you look at his shin line, it's pretty similar, pretty parallel to his torso line. That's where we want to be. Go ahead and do it wrong, Steve. This is where we don't want to be. By having our torso angle so great and a shin angle where it really needs to be, we're putting a ton of weight on his lower back. All right. So what we're going to do to fix that, again, we're going to stretch first. All right, hamstrings and glutes and ankles. That's going to help with that. If that doesn't work, we're going to go into a PVC pipe overhead squat. All right, we're going to grab the PVC pipe. Now, getting into this, we're going to have a pretty wide grip on the bar. All right, pretty much almost for someone as long as Steve, almost out the edge of the bar. Come in a little bit steeper, a little bit far. Okay. All right, so turn again. We want to keep the weight or the PVC pipe directly over our hip through the whole movement. Okay, go ahead and squat, Steve. By doing this, we're going to engage our upper back to keep those shoulders up. All right, we're going to come back up. What we don't want to see is this. If that bar is coming way out in front, then if we were to ever add load to that, again, we're leaning too far forward. All right. From there, we're going to look at doing a box squat, number one. Again, by doing a box squat, we're going to keep our torso up, so I'm going to have to completely release himself on the box. Go ahead and come up. And again, by driving through our heels, we're not going to let them lean really far forward. All right, go ahead and do this wrong. So lean forward really hard. There you go. That's bad. That's all lower back right there. All right. So encourage them to stay up. If they can't do that, we're going to take them straight to the TRX this time. All right. By using the TRX, it forces the torso to stay up. Your arms are forcing it to stay up. If they still can't complete it very well, putting the box under the TRX will give them a little more comfort, and they'll be able to go deeper into their squat. The fourth thing we're looking at is making sure our shoulders stay pulled back and our chest doesn't cave as we're doing our squat. Go ahead and do the squat, Steve, correctly. Shoulders stay nice and tight, chest is up, back is flat. All right, do it wrong. Let your shoulders cave. Now we have thoracic lordosis, all right? With rounding in our upper back, and we don't want that either. So what we're going to do first is a couple correctives. We're going to have Steve do band pull-aparts to engage his upper back. So, come in a little bit. Up here. There we go. I'm going to take about 18 inches, 20 inches on the band, and we're going to pull directly apart, squeezing our shoulder blades together. All right? If you want to, for a good coaching cue, put your hand or something right behind there and have them pinch your hand. That's going to tighten all this up. If we needed to, we could stretch their chest a little bit, and it'll also increase their back tightness as they go into their squat. So go ahead. We're going to go back into the squat. Okay. So for Steve, obviously, this is no issue. But if we did have an issue at this point, they still round a little bit. We're going to go into a couple regressions. Number one, go back to our overhead squat. Oh, sorry, back squat. Yep, we're going to go into our back squat. That forces the shoulders to come back because we're holding onto the bar behind us. All right, so he's going to go here. Good. If this doesn't work, all right, we're going to have them go under an overhead band, a band overhead squat. So they're actively pulling the band apart as they squat. Very similar to the PVC pipe overhead squat, with the exception of now we're pulling a band apart, so we're actively engaging our shoulders. Okay, the fifth thing we're going to look at is do the knees track correctly in our squat. Are they caving in as we start our concentric part of our squat? So as Steve comes up, his knees track correctly. If they stay directly above his toes, we're in line with his toes. If they were not to, they're going to go ahead and cave in. We're going to try and prevent that from happening. All right. So the first thing we're going to do to try and correct this is stretch the adductors, the inside of his legs, by band around his foot. He's going to lay back, leaving his unstretched leg on the floor, toe pointed towards the ceiling. He's going to drop his outside knee away to the side without putting it on the floor. All right, toe stays pulled towards the shin. He's pulling this band directly to his chest. He's going to switch legs to the other side. We're going to hold these stretches for about 30 seconds or more, or about 30 seconds to stretch it adequately. Come back up. We're going to stop that stretch. The second thing we're going to do is stimulate his AB down here. Right, the outside of his legs, his glute medius and his TFL. All right. He's going to step out. He's going to bring his foot in no less than 12 inches. He's going to lead with his heel. He's going to stay in a nice athletic position. Knees bent, butt back, chest up. All right. From there, we're going to go ahead and wrap a band around his knees. Add external resistance pulling him into the air. His body's going to naturally overcompensate, resulting in a nice clean squat. All right, the last thing we're going to look at is our lumbar alignment. As we sit down, we'll make sure our lumbar stays in alignment and our hips don't roll under. Otherwise known as bubbling. All right, so this is what it looks like to do bubbling. See, you can't even do it now. Good. Come back up. All right. If we do butt plank, the first thing we're going to do again is stretch our hamstrings, stretch our glutes. What's happening is our hamstrings are pulling down our hips and pulling them under as we get deep into our squat. So the first thing we're going to do is stretch our hamstrings, just like we have with the other issues. So by correcting that for one issue, it should correct it for this issue. If we stretch them and we still have this issue, go ahead. All right, you're still butt planking. So what we want to go through now is a couple different variations. First variation being PVC pipe overhead squat. It's going to keep everything tight in this posterior chain. And you should not be able to get quite as deep in overhead squat, so it's going to keep him from getting to the depth of where he's going to start rising both. Good, come up. The second thing we're going to look at doing is a box squat. Again, it's going to keep us out of that depth of starting to roll our hips under. So again, doing a box squat is going to keep you in perfect position. Good. Stop there. If he's still not comfortable doing that, you start seeing a little bit of hip rotation under. Again, going TRX is a great alternative. Good. So he's no longer butt winking at this point. His butt stays out, his back stays flat. All right. So you'll notice a lot of these stretches that we've done and a lot of the different corrections that we've done have improved a lot of the different issues with the squat. So if you see multiple issues, by handling one of them, you can handle many of them at the same time. The only one you may have issues with is the knee valgus or the knee caving in. Okay?